Hi. Let's learn about checks and balances. Checks and balances are various procedures set in place to reduce mistakes, prevent improper behavior, or decrease the risk of centralization of power. They usually ensure that no one person or department has absolute control over decisions and force cooperation in completing tasks. Although the term is most commonly used in the context of government, it also refers to limiting power in businesses and organizations. The U.S. government exercises checks and balances through its three branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. Checks and balances are important in businesses and organizations where one individual can make decisions that affect operations. By separating the duties of various employees into clearly defined roles, businesses and organizations are better able to ensure that rogue employees or executives cannot harm the business without the intervention of other employees. The United Nations has 6 internal institutions, each with different responsibilities, to avoid a concentration of power. The individuals working in these bodies and the bodies themselves cannot influence each other. This ensures that different directives are handled by different groups, given the UN's wide global influence impacting most nations around the world. The U.S. Constitution provides checks and balances through the separation of powers between its legislative, executive, and judicial branches. It gives specific abilities to each one of these three branches to ensure that no one section of the government could obtain excessive unchecked power. For example, the legislative branch makes laws, but the executive branch gives veto power to the president, and the judicial branch can deem certain laws unconstitutional, making them void. Executive orders are often declared for the benefit of the country and rarely considered unconstitutional. They are enacted solely by the president as head of the executive branch of government. Still, they can be reversed by subsequent administrations. In the U.S. government, checks and balances refers to the separation of power ensured through the establishment of 3 different branches: the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the legislative branch, which hold different powers and can check the power of the other branches. The idea of checks and balances was first proposed by the Greek statesman, Polybius, in reference to the government of ancient Rome. French philosopher, Baron de Montesquieu, also discussed in his work during the Age of Enlightenment. Checks and balances in the world economy can be seen through the variety of global organizations that seek to check the power of different nations, organizations, and individuals, such as NATO, the UN, the WTO, and the ICC. Without checks and balances, one branch of government can grow too powerful and problematic. In the U.S., 3 branches have a set of checks and balances: the legislative branch as Congress, the Supreme Court as the judicial branch, and the office of the President as the executive branch. Other world governments and international bodies like the United Nations also have checks and balances in place. Here are 5 key takeaways. 1. Checks and balances refer to the separation of power to avoid one entity or body wielding too much power. 2. Checks and balances can help reduce mistakes and prevent improper behavior in organizations. 3. Checks and balances are most commonly used in the context of government, for example in the U.S. government through the establishment of the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. 4. Checks and balances are important in businesses and other organizations where one individual can make decisions that affect operations, such as the CEO or a majority shareholder. 5. The idea of checks and balances dates back as far as the Roman Empire. Hope this would help. Thanks for watching.